What if the most dangerous people in your life don't scream but whisper? What if the true control doesn't come with chains, but with compliments? The greatest manipulators don't need violence to dominate. They use confusion. They rewrite the rules of trust. They use kindness as currency, guilt as leverage, and silence as a weapon. Eric Berne taught us every manipulative exchange is a game, but one designed so you never realize you're playing. Robert Greene warned us, the art of power is subtle. It hides in charm and generosity and false choice. If you've ever felt like you were giving everything but didn't know why this message is for you, because the moment you name the game, the spell breaks. The lie loses its grip. And what once made you feel powerless becomes your clearest evidence that you were never the problem, you were simply being played. It begins with something small, an argument you remember clearly, but they insist never happened. A promise they broke, yet somehow you're the one apologizing. This isn't miscommunication, it's gaslighting. Eric Berne described it as a game. Now I've got you. You son of a bitch, where the goal is to provoke and then punish your reaction. The manipulator twists your words, rewrites history, and slowly dismantles your trust in your own perception. You start asking, am I overreacting? Am I losing it? No, you're responding to an invisible war. They don't need to hit you to hurt you. They just need to convince you that your truth isn't real. And once you stop believing yourself, you're easy to control. But your feelings are not flaws. Your memory is not defective. That tightness in your chest, it's wisdom trying to scream. Don't ignore it. The moment you name the lie, you start to win. They never say no. They just don't show up. They nod when you speak but forget everything you said. They agree to your plans, then quietly sabotage them. This is not a coincidence, it's control wrapped in courtesy. Eric Berne called it the yes but game, where someone pretends to cooperate while resisting in silence. They use delay as a weapon, sarcasm as a shield, selective memory as a form of domination. You begin to feel unreasonable for asking for the bare minimum. You think you're being demanding, but you're actually being dismissed. And because they never openly reject you, you struggle to name what's wrong. That's their strategy. Their disguise is politeness. Their goal is power without confrontation. But don't be fooled. If someone always leaves you feeling uncertain, unworthy, or invisible, it's not your standards that are too high. It's your tolerance for subtle disrespect that needs to end. Politeness isn't love. Presence is. At first it feels generous. They offer help before you even ask. They do things that seem thoughtful, even selfless. You think, wow, someone finally sees me. But underneath, it's not generosity, it's a contract. Robert Greene warned us, selective generosity isn't kindness, it's leverage. Because when the time comes, they remind you subtly or not that you owe them. After all I've done for you becomes the leash. You hesitate to say no. You feel guilt without cause. You feel indebted without clarity. That's not love, it's emotional accounting. They keep a mental ledger and cash it in when it benefits them most. You start sacrificing your boundaries not out of love, but to balance a debt you never agreed to. But love doesn't demand repayment. Real kindness expects nothing, and the moment someone weaponizes their help against your freedom, it was never help at all. You don't owe anyone access to your soul. You find yourself constantly explaining your tone, your intentions, your choices. But no matter how much you clarify, it's never enough. That's by design. Manipulators create chaos, not because they're confused, but because it keeps you small. Robert Greene called it the tactic of controlled options. Make the victim think they're free, while every choice leads back to the manipulator's benefit. You're not indecisive, you're being deceived. They praise and insult in the same sentence. They offer support and withdraw it without warning. They say you're overthinking, but they're the ones weaving the maze. Strategic confusion isn't miscommunication, it's a trap. And as long as you're defending yourself, you're not moving forward. The truth is this: anyone who thrives on your confusion fears your clarity. You do not need to justify your peace to someone who profits from your disorientation. The moment you stop explaining is the moment you begin reclaiming yourself. They cheer when you struggle, but vanish when you thrive. They mask envy as concern. They call your progress arrogance and your ambition unrealistic. This isn't feedback, it's ego sabotage. Eric Berne exposed these power games. They belittle you with praise, compare you with cruelty, and trap you in emotional dependency. When you begin to shine, they act wounded as if your growth is a betrayal. You start to dim yourself not because you believe them, but because you fear losing them. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail. They want you small so they can feel important. They want you to question yourself so they can remain the answer. But here's the truth. Real love doesn't flinch at your light. It rises with you. If someone punishes your power, it's because they never respected your soul. Your worth doesn't need shrinking, it needs space. And now it's time to rise without permission. Manipulation only thrives in the shadows. It needs your silence. It feeds on your doubt. But once you see the pattern, once you name what they've tried so hard to keep hidden, it begins to die. You stop playing their games. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop mistaking guilt for love. Eric Berne gave us the power to decode toxic dynamics. Robert Greene handed us the blueprint for reclaiming control. But now it's your turn to act. No more apologizing for being awake. No more tolerating kindness with claws. If someone must confuse, belittle, or guilt you to keep you close, they were never meant to stay. This is your moment. Cut the strings. Stand tall in your truth. Share this message with someone who's still searching for the words to leave. Subscribe to stay grounded in clarity. And remember, when you honor your voice, no one else can own it.